Hello, everyone, and welcome to this conversation presented by White House Custom Color.
Are you trying to mute me?
No, it's just real loud, and I can't.
I sold Amazon, but it was $25.
Listening to listen, not listening to respond.
Yes! Oh, thank you for that.
We talked for Portrait Masters, and I shut it down, and you were like ready to keep going, but I was like, no, we gotta
because I had a
stop.
blast with you. Like, I've been doing a lot of these, and they're not as entertaining as it is with you, so I'm ready.
Okay. You do a lot of these?
I do a lot of, I was on one yesterday. I got one after you.
You do? What do people talk to you about?
All sorts of stuff. The human face, what people do with their face, how it looks, how it behaves. I mean, I'm a physiognomist, so I utilize that to my best advantage.
Oh, what?
Physiognomist. Study the human face and how expressions create the personality that you get.
That's a real thing? Physiognomist?
Physiognomy, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I'm rolling with it. I'm self-proclaimed, but I'm taking it.
You don't have a degree in physiognomy?
No, I mean, it's just trial and error and years of photographing people in the face.
You have a lot of real world experience. Tell me this then. I'm intrigued. Since you do a lot of these, and I absolutely believe that you do a lot of these, what is it that you want to talk about that people don't ask you about? So everyone's always asking you about faces and how to light something and, like, don't you want to talk about anything other than physiognomy and lighting and shooting headshots? I mean, you're the headshot guru. I get that, but don't you? Yeah. Isn't there more to Peter? Isn't there more to Peter Hurley than headshots?
I would say yes, there is. Yes, there is. But I mean, I like talking about headshots. I have no problem with that. I think the major thing whenever you get asked to do something like this is like, what do people want to hear from me? Like, I think everybody has a little bit of, what the heck could I say that they're going to get anything out of it? So I'm always trying to, my thing is to inspire, and I'm very into laying on people what I'm up to become a better human so that I'm accountable. Because I like put it out there publicly all the time.
Like what? And, what are you up to? What are you up to become a better human?
Like, procrastination was a big problem. So I told everybody that I'll go on Instagram. I do this thing called Wake Up and Goals, where I wake up and I say, I got to get going and I got to start. What's my goal for the day? Well, my goal for the day was to get a bunch of stuff done and be more productive. So I put it out there to the world through my Instagram or through the Headshot Crew when I have these webinars called Crewcasts, and I'm on Zoom for hours at a time. I'll tell everybody, okay, this is what my plan is. This is what my goal is. This is what I'm doing. And I do this thing called the Success Track, which has it's weekly wisdom. So we do it on Wednesdays. It's, and I talk about something that's going on in my life that I leverage that to make myself accountable. Because if I put it out there, I don't want to look like a fool if I don't do it. So I usually just utilize it for myself. So, and then everybody benefits because they're listening to this thing. Like, for instance, I've been doing these 30-day challenges with my physique. I've been trying to get in shape, and I've been like trying to kind of see how much willpower I have. So 30 days is enough time to figure this out. So and I have a buddy that I do this with, so it makes it easier, but I put it out there publicly so I don't screw it up. So for instance, the first month we did it, we just were like, let's try and not eat red meat for a month. Let's do no alcohol, no red meat. Let's stretch every day for 15 minutes. We'll do abs every day, 50 reps, and meditate every day for 15 minutes. So we did that for 30 days. And I made it, and I was like, whoa, but I had to put it out there. If I didn't put it out there, then I might not, if nobody knew, maybe I wouldn't make it.
So let me see if I got this straight. It's a big motivator for you. That accountability piece is a big motivator for you because you care to some degree what people think of you.
Yeah. In terms of decision making. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of some things, I don't care. But in this, I want to, walk my walk and talk my talk. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. So I put it out there.
What do you not care about?
If somebody doesn't care that whether I'm doing that or not, like I don't really, I try not to put too much weight on others that aren't getting good results. Like if somebody's opinion of something I'm doing isn't good, I always look at their results and I'm like, well, why would I listen to that person or care what that person did? You know?
They don't
So
have
it's
any
like,
credibility to be critiquing you.
yeah, you got to walk your walk for me to care about what you're saying to me. And I think we're all trying to become better humans. I don't think you go on day by day just being like, I'm going to be the same human I was. I think you try to be a different, better, more interesting human. And I think, you know, you become more aware of yourself as you grow and change anyway. So I turned 50. I guess there's this 50 don't give a shit as much about things mentality that happens. I don't know. I don't know. I turned 50.
Well, it's like, interesting that you say that. I'm 45, right?
Oh, yeah.
My wife has been saying over and over recently, maybe even more so this year, and probably because of lots of reasons, that I'm becoming a grumpy old man.
Oh, boy.
Well, and
is this true?
I think so, but I would like
on a daily basis or in certain scenarios.
I would hope it's certain scenarios. And for me, it's because I just don't have. I feel like I have less time now more than ever for what I consider BS. Right? If it's if I consider something, if something's baloney.
Yeah.
What?
You've got a meter that's just like way really sensitive now as to before you would let it slide, but now this is not flying.
I don't let a lot slide. I don't. If I see it, I call it out more, and I'm just like, that's not true, or who do you think you are, or whatever, and it gets me in a lot of trouble.
Well, I love it. You have no filter when you feel that. You feel it coming and you hit them with it.
I have a filter. It's just a weak filter. Like some of the, some of my thoughts get filtered out quite a bit, but I'm feeling more and more free to express my opinion about things when I feel like something's off.
Wow.
I don't like the BS. Is that not what you were getting at? You're 50 years old now, and so things are different because you're 50. Something happens when you're 50.
I think, well, that's a mentality. Like, I don't know. I didn't expect anything particular to happen, but I'm like, I guess mentally there is some worth to that, and everybody takes it differently.
All right. Well, so here's my first big official question for you. And you kind of alluded to this already because you seem really busy and very active. And I just kind of wanted to catch up and know what in the world's going on in your world right now. Like, what's happening right now with you?
I mean, it's funny that not much is happening, but everything's happening. So for some reason, even during a pandemic, like it's slow. Like I really it's October 22nd. I've shot one person this month, and I'm a photographer. Like that's what I do for a living. Like that's why I have a studio. Now, that being said, I'm coaching the headshot crew. I just had a student in here that was shooting 2 headshots with my makeup artist, and I was coaching them through the process for the last, 4 hours or whatever. Oh. So I'm doing stuff. It's just, my assistant is shooting up the wazoo. She shoots at a lower price point than me. So maybe that's it. I'm like, okay, it's COVID. Maybe people are not willing to pay an extra pretty penny for Peter Hurley pictures. Who knows? Or maybe it's just that I'm trying, and I think we should all be doing this now, trying to figure out what is the new thing, or what are our lives going to be like, and what business model are we going to have coming out of this thing? And if you're a photographer, it's changed for a lot of people. Obviously I just shot the Giants game over the weekend, and there were I'm serious, there was nobody in the stadium. I got invited, and there were maybe 12 photographers, including me and my friend who invited me, I went with, and we were in the stands, couldn't be on the field, and it was empty. I mean, it was weird.
That's a strange experience.
It was surreal. And my pictures sucked because I couldn't run from one end of the field to the other and get anything
But
good.
that's
So I
not
was
the
frustrated.
new. But you don't want to label that the new normal, right? That's the anomaly. That's not how things.
No, I think I thought it was cool just to capture now because I think it's going to be gone and go back. But I think there are things that maybe won't go back right away. I don't know. I think that all of us, back to the point is that you got to be moving and shaking. You got to figure out what can you make money at, like anything. And if you're a photographer, what are you going to put in front of your camera to get paid for? What is that? You know, and for me, I've always been entrepreneurial. So I have a bunch of sources of income and I'm like, okay, which one do I work? What do I work on now? What's the thing that's going to allow me to keep this studio when other photographers are shutting studios down and you know, landlords are going crazy and it's New York City and it's, all that stuff. So how do you, like, this is my workplace. It's, I do shoot in here, but I'm 2 blocks from my apartment and I can't, I couldn't shut this down, so I've got to figure out how to sustain it if I'm not taking pictures. So there's all sorts of things to do. And do I think it's going to come back? Yes. Do I know when? No, know, and, fortunately, I've been doing okay with other stuff that I can make it through. And my landlord's really cool. So far so good, but, who knows? So it's just about that. It's like, okay, I'm not shooting today. I'm going to coach today. So and I started doing my workshops again. I did a workshop in here that was great, but you're doing the workshop and there's a bunch of people in here. And I'm like, I kept it to less than 10 students. Yeah. But still, it's like, I wore my mask. I was like, if you guys get within 6 feet of me, put your mask on. If not, and then by the third day, we're all like together the whole time. And we're all like, it just, you just not, if you're together for hours, how much mask wearing can you do? Right. It's like, what are we doing? Everybody's fine. I got tested and stuff, but it is what you worry about that kind of stuff now. So who knows? So, I've just been trying to figure out what am I going to do coming out of this? So you asked me, how busy am I? I'm not busy shooting. You would think, and the income. So I would think I would have all this time, but I don't. I woke up at 7 in the morning yesterday, and I went to bed at like midnight, and I can't remember stopping throughout the day with everything that was going on. And I had so much to do, and I still didn't get everything done that I woke up this morning. I was making phone calls and sending emails that should have happened yesterday. So I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about you, but I'm not good being a bump on a log. I lose my mind. And to me, this isn't work. So I'm not working ever. I love it. I'll talk to people. I'll coach people. I'll get on a whatever. I don't feel like I'm working. I don't feel like it's work. I love it.
A lot of the people that I talk to or consult with, or that I have over the years, workshops or consultations or whatever, a lot of times I meet with people who are stuck, right? And I generally narrow it down to one question that I ask them, and they get stuck and they can't move and they don't know which way to go or what to do next. And I say to them, "What do you want?" So we kind of start at the bottom of the barrel, right? The foundation. But it occurred to me that I generally don't ask that question very often to people that seem like they have everything they want, to people that seem like they've got everything together. Like, you're in a situation right now, like, to me, you got a lot going on, right? You're not stuck to just photographing in that studio. You have all these different revenue streams and all these things that you're managing. You're very entrepreneurial. You're very active. You're very energetic. What do you want, though? What do you want?
Well, I think the first thing is at least what this has done for me is I've looked back and been a lot more grateful of all that stuff that I had or have, So I was like, what I want is to obviously get back to where I was. A lot of it is dependent upon, raising kids in New York City and putting them through college. So I was like, all right, I need some cash flow. So a lot of my goals are monetary based, but, and also getting back, pulling off what I did with a camera. I couldn't even believe, if I'd gone back and told the dude that picked up the camera when he was 30, that when he's 50, he's going to be here, it would just be crazy. So for me, I'm very grateful for that. So what do I want? What do I want more? I was like, I did almost everything that I wanted to do. There's some things that I wasn't able to do because there was a threshold of cash flow that you have to get through to do the things that I've kind of wanted to do in my life. So those are some of the things that I would like to do down the road once I figure out what it is that I want to do. And the main thing for me, I guess right now, which I've been doing, is not moving out of photography, but adding things to what I'm doing that are not photography based, which is really cool because I want to speak. I'm doing some really cool stuff with a woman who's a client of mine, and we're speaking on the topic of we call it create your existence, on how the internal portion of you correlates with what people get externally. And I'm like the external guy and she's the internal woman, and we're doing it together, and it's created this, like, I'm getting emails, like people asking me to do stuff together. We're doing how to come across on these meetings, these virtual meetings like Zoom and stuff like that, better. And I'm getting asked to do that all the time. So I'm giving a talk on that tonight at 6 something. So
that's what you're doing later.
I'm doing that later. And I'm doing another one. So I have 2 later. I forgot. And not just one, I have 2. And I also have a Zoom for the Headshot crew, which is we Zoom every day. 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and sometimes Mondays. So I have that, and that starts at 4. So it's busy. But yeah, my goals are basically to take what it is that I do and back to people. It's always, for me, I think the basis of it, my secret sauce is looking at somebody and figuring out their face so that I can get the best image out of them, but then actually getting them to create expressions and feel more comfortable in front of the camera than having not been there before. So that's my thing, is that, like, I can take anybody. I walk down the street and I'm like, oh, I know what to do with that face. I do this, I do that, and just bring out their best through this physiognomy portion of the work that I'm doing. So I'm pushing more of that envelope toward the public rather than photographers, because most of this stuff that I teach is for photographers, and for photographers to understand what I'm doing now at this stage in my career, they probably would have had to go through a lot of the stages that I went through previously, and to get to the point where, like, I started working with, on this, it just feels like a different plane where because I used to just bring my clients into the studio and do a routine. It was all repetitive. And now it's totally different. And now it's a lot based on their behavior and how they're reacting and what their face does before they get in front of the camera for me to, adjust it during the shoot. And it was interesting to just watch 2 people get photographed and be coaching that as well, because I get so much insight into my own work when I see what's going on in the behavior of the human. The most coolest thing is that the camera messes everybody up. It's like unbelievable. It's like so powerful. It just immediately, people just change, and it's like mesmerizing, and some people get weird, and some people, you just try too hard. Everybody's different, but the camera gives the photographer power, a lot of power. So when I'm wielding that sucker, I like it, I love it, but I want to be able to correlate that into how people can, basically not a lot of, what am I trying to say? A lot of my stuff that I've been doing has been directed at photographers and getting them better, which I love, but I want to direct it at people. And I mean, the most hits that I ever got on YouTube was my videos that were geared towards people, not photographers. It was like, hey, here's what you do with your jawline. That got 4 million views or 5. I don't know how many it has now. Oh, here's the squinching video. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going on and on, but
that was a lot. I'm trying to track. I want to get to what drives you the most, not just as a businessman, not just as a photographer, but also as a person. All this stuff considered, like, what pushes you the most? What are you most motivated by?
I think it goes back to, in my life, it's always gone back to being successful, whatever it is you want to pull off. So my definition
But what's
of success
success?
well, I think it's making a plan and pulling it off.
No matter what it is.
So whatever the plan is, the plan could be to walk across the room. If I do that, I'm successful. There we go. I walked across the room. Perfect. Phenomenal.
You're motivated by making a goal and accomplishing that goal.
Yeah, it drives me. Yeah. And it's always been. And the thing about it that's interesting is that it took me a while to understand that I was not, that competitive by nature with other people. What I am is I'm competitive with myself. Because I when I was training for the Olympics, I was like, these guys that I'm sailing against are so good, and they're shellacking me and they're just beating me up all over the place, left, right, and center. And when I realized they were really good, but I kept getting better and I kept getting closer to them.
Yeah.
And then when it got to game time where I was up to speed with them and I'm neck and neck with them, and all of a sudden I'm falling apart with nerves because the world champion's right behind me coming down my tail. It didn't have anything to do with him. It was nothing to do with him.
Right.
It was me the whole time.
Yeah.
So once you take that responsibility on, it's a huge weight off your shoulders, or weight on your shoulders, however you want to look at it. But that's why when photographers get nasty with me about like, well, this guy down the street did this and this guy copied this and this guy's doing that and that guy's doing this and that person slashed their rates and blah, 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 blah. And this person took my clients. All of that is like total crap because you're focused on them when it's really you. It's got nothing to do with them. Like if you were such a badass, they wouldn't even be able to see you and like, let alone get near you,
You think that's one of the secrets of the people that are successful, including yourself, is that you don't concern yourself with others like that?
Not at all. Not at all. And if somebody does kick my ass, I'm like, what did I do wrong? What am I doing? What do I have to do?
Not necessarily what did they do right, but what am I not doing right?
Exactly. Well, Mark Cuban said this, and I don't know how exactly it says. He said, I just try and figure out what I would need to do to kick my own ass, and I do that. I was like, that's good. I like that one.
That's fantastic.
I like that. I mean, that's really all it is. Like, what's somebody going to do? Like, what are you going to do? Like, how much are you invested in what you're doing? Like, are you committed like 100%? Are you not? This notion of being, everybody says, oh, I'm 110% committed. Well, let me see it. Cause that's why I do the willpower stuff. It's like, you could say you're committed, but like I never fasted before for a very long time. I mean, I fast all the time when I was losing weight for the boat I sail. I was training for a world championship. I needed to I was 230. I needed to be 185 I was 230 on January 1st. I needed to be 185 by July 10th of that year. I was 45 and I was 230 at New Year's. And I was like, okay, by July 10th, I'm going to weigh 185. And I did it. And I went out and got second at the World Championship. I couldn't have done that if I didn't have that goal set for me. I had to go do it. I don't know where my point was because now I lost it with that story. What was I talking about?
Well, we're talking about what drives you, really, and
that was driving me.
You're really self-motivated.
And you know what it was? It was the willpower thing. Hold on, because this is good. So to lose all that weight, I started intermittent fasting, and that's what I've been doing lately. So I'll fast for like 20 hours a day, no problem. I'll eat, at 6 at night or whatever, 6 to 8. And then I won't eat again until like 4 or 5 or 6 in the afternoon, whatever. I'll eat like when I'm really going for it. Well, I never did it more than 20 hours, or I think 29 hours was the most I ever did, which was crazy. And then one day I was like, I was like, I'm not that hungry. I'm going to go to bed. And I woke up and I ended up doing like a 48-hour fast. And then my buddy was like, oh, I'm fasting. I'm going to do a 72-hour. And I was like, 72 hours? He goes, yeah. I said, but you started at 11 at night. What if you just go to bed and wake up in the morning and be like 84 hours? He goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to do 84 hours. I was like, I'll do it with you. I never fasted for that long. I was like, I'm doing it as a willpower thing. It was hard. I mean, it was hard. It was not,
Yeah.
but I did it. We did 84 hours. I don't know what that does for you, but I did it. It's supposed to be good for you. I don't know. I just did. That's the thing. Like people just they say they can't do something and they just don't have the willpower to do it. Willpower is a tough thing. That's the thing that I'm working on in myself. So anytime where I notice something where I'm pushing against doing it, like for instance, I always work out in the morning. I don't like working out like midday usually. Once it becomes nighttime, I never work out at night. So my wife wanted a bike, so she got this bike and we put it in the studio. So it's a Peloton, right? So, and I was in here the other night and I was like, I don't ever work out at night. I was like, screw it. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it because I don't ever do it. And I say I won't do it and I don't do it. I'm going to do it. And I got on the bike and I ran for a half hour. Then I did my 50 reps of abs and I did my 15 minutes of stretching and I did it at night, which I never do. And that's the kind of.
But you did it by an act of will.
Yeah, I'm doing that stuff. That's my thing.
Is the will like a muscle?
Right.
Is the will like a muscle in that it gets stronger if you activate it and exercise it?
I don't know. How do you feel about your will? Like, do you have things that you just know you're not going to get yourself to do or you can push through it? Like, how do you get to that point where you're just like, wait a minute, no, that's not my thing. I'm not going to do that. You know, it's like the 30 days of non-drinking. I'm a big drinker. COVID happened and I was drinking beers every night. I was like getting lit up like you wouldn't believe. And then I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. I got my blood checked and there was some liver. And my doctor's like, are you drinking a lot right now? I was like, it's COVID. I'm hammered every night.
Of course
I
am.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I got this blood thing that didn't look good in my liver or something. I was like, that's a sign. Let's do willpower. Let's quit drinking for 30 days. No problem. I did it. It's like to be able to do that as a human being is very powerful, I think. So but I also put it out there for the accountability so people know I'm doing it. So if I screw it up, I'm accountable. And I don't, that's the thing. You have to find something that's more powerful than the thing that you want. So the beer isn't as powerful as people thinking I didn't accomplish my 30 days of non-drinking for me.
You cared about that more than you cared about drinking the beer.
Exactly. That's what does it. Yeah.
Tell me this. I had this written down and I want to know, this is a pivot, but I want to know this. What's the best thing that's ever happened to you in this industry?
Oh, Boise. You're gonna make me cry or something. I think there's like a few things that come to mind. The best one, I mean, what popped into my brain was, Scott Kelby invited me to speak on the Google stage. It was my first talk, and that talk, I'm so nervous, and I was like, and that opened up this whole thing, but that stemmed from the f-stop. I guess it would be teaching photographers. I mean, is really the best thing that happened to me because I was just in my studio, minding my own business. I knew there were photographers that taught people other things, but I didn't think I would ever be one of them. So it would definitely have to be teaching if you go all else, because the speaking came. I was going to say my relationship with Westcott when I sat down with them and we decided to make some lights. That was freaking unbelievable. Then I was also thinking about becoming an explorer, like from Canon, which means so much to me. Those things, but that all stemmed from the f-stoppers walking in my door and saying, hey, you're really good at headshots. You need to teach this. And it was on those guys. So I think that it would have to be the f-stoppers walking in my door.
What's the emotion come from?
It changed my life. So I talk about this a lot. You guys, I had one source of income for a really long time, and it was getting people in front of my camera, and that was it. There was I had to have a human in front of my camera, press the button to get paid. And when I started leveraging my knowledge through the teaching, through the tutorials, through the subscription on Headshot Crew, through all these things, It changed the need for me to have somebody in front of my camera, which allowed me freedom. I mean, I always, when I'm coaching on the crew, I'm always talking about everybody trying to figure out different sources of income for themselves, so that they don't have to be present to do the work to get paid. So anything that you can do, and I'm always trying to think of more, it's like, and where can you be more, what do you have to give? So my gift is headshot photography. Like, I could teach anybody in the world how to take a headshot, and if they listen to me and do it and put a portfolio together with this work, they will get work off of it. And if they do it well, I'll give them work. I mean, I've been doling out jobs left, right, and center during COVID to photographers all over the world. I started a headshot photography booking agency, and we're getting referrals in like crazy. And this morning I woke up, it was the middle of the night, and I emailed this guy in the UK, and I was like, it's 5 hours ahead. He's not going to get it. And the guy must have been, I don't know what happened. He emailed me back so excited. I gave him a job, and it was because we're working with global companies now, and this guy's on the headshot crew, and I could give him one because I coached him up to this level where I can trust him to go out there and get it done, and I get to do that. So having that, is pretty cool. So we'll see where it goes, because I'm starting to understand that this is not a small thing. This is global. And these companies have a need for, headshots, and they have a need for consistency across their brand for headshots. And if we can make people look better, and I've created this recipe, and somebody can do the recipe, I could teach you the recipe, just do it. And then, and some people are like, I'm not going to shoot like Peter Hurley. I'm like, don't shoot like me, but I can't give you a job. Like, even if you could shoot like me and then go shoot any other way you want, that's fine. And then people are like, well, do you like all these people copying your work? I was like, it's kind of flattering, isn't it? I'm all right. I'm doing fine. It's okay.
What if you flip that question? What's one of the worst or the hardest things that's happened?
I would say I've been pretty damn fortunate to be able to do this. I think the worst things that happen or that have happened are somehow the best things. I mean, most of it's with bad shoots and losing clients. Like, I shot for a really big client. I had a bad shoot and it didn't go well. They didn't use the pictures, and then they stopped using me. So those are like the bad things
kind of
that
stinks,
happen.
right?
Yeah, it's tough.
Tell me, I was wondering that then because, I go to your blog, your website, and I see plenty of faces that I recognize. And I've asked this to different people that are in a position to interact with celebrities in particular. Who's the best person you've ever worked with that people would know?
Yeah.
Who stands out and you're like, that is a classy person. That they are fantastic.
Marcus Samuelsson is really cool. I don't know that people know him, but he's one of the world's most famous chefs. He was just spending the day with him was amazing. He is a Michelin star chef. I got to shoot all these chefs. He was amazing. I always forget all the celebrities that I shot. I mean, I shot Mikhail Baryshnikov, and he was really cool. Sometimes it's me that gets super excited, and then it's also, as a photographer, you're trying to figure out the relationship between you and that person. Like, you're just spending some time with them, and maybe they're cool, maybe they're not. Mikhail Baryshnikov was like a photographer too, and then after the shoot, like, showed me all his books and stuff, and was like, he gave me like 10 minutes shooting, and then he's like, here, stay there, don't come down, come into my office. And I go in there, and he's like, look at this, and he showed me all these books, and I spent 10 minutes with him. I was like, yeah, and I was nervous as hell shooting him. He's like, I was like, you only gave me like 10 minutes out there. We're looking at your books for like, he's like, you got the shot. Come on. He was super cool. But I'm trying to think of, bigger names. Like, over the course of my career, there's been stories. Like, I was shooting Ariana Grande, and she was 12. So she wasn't Ariana Grande. Yeah, I mean, she was Ariana Grande at 12. Wow. And I said, she's like, what did I say? I said, how are you? I mean, what do you think? You think you're going to do well in this singing thing that you're trying to do? And she goes, I'm going to be a superstar. just like that to me. And I was like, oh, good. I like it. And her mom was like,
did you
"She's
think to
really
yourself,
good."
maybe she will be with that kind of an attitude, right?
I mean, I remember it like most kids saying something to me, like a 12-year-old comes in and I shoot him and they say something, I probably wouldn't remember what most say. I remembered that. So, even though, I obviously when everything happened to her, I was like, oh my gosh, I shot her when she was 12, but I remembered that. And I think it was a good lesson for me. She knew it's just so much of what we do is based on our belief in ourselves. And she had it. And her mom was like, she's really good. She is really good. She was like this. It was like her mom heard her and I was like, wow. And her mom's like, well, she is really good. Like I was like, I don't doubt it. I'm not doubting it. I mean, that was cool. Like to have that experience was really cool. Now looking back at it. And then, I think that at least this is my belief, that success makes people more of what they are. So if they're already an asshole and they become successful, they just become a major freaking ass. Like they're like 10 times, like to the 10th power asshole. Can I swear on this or are you going to beep those?
I don't think that word gets beeped. That's like a PG word. Okay,
fine. I'm just checking. But if you're really nice and you become successful, it's like, it's just 10 power nice. Like it's like unbelievable. It's so cool. So when I get to photograph
success brings out who we really are more
of what you are. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're really nice and you become successful, you're really freaking nice. It's really cool. So when you're photographing somebody, you just don't know. Like, I don't know. I just got the job and then I go. And as photographers, we're all trying to connect with our subjects anyway. Yep. So connecting with what, I do get an adrenaline rush when I'm shooting a celebrity just because they're well known. I was an actor. I always wanted to be, in the limelight, try and get my career going like that. So it was like it's a big deal for me to photography opens a lot of doors for you in a lot of different ways. And it's really cool. But I want to have this rapport with my subject, no matter who they are. Right. And I find myself behaving a little differently because I'm like a little starstruck sometimes. And I don't want to be like that. I got to shoot the cast and crew of Lost and I had never watched the show. Wow. So I was like, I don't want to watch it. I don't want to get like. You hadn't watched the show? No, I hadn't watched it. Okay. So yeah, other photographers were like, you got to be kidding me. You got that. And it was the best job I ever had. I loved it. It was still amazing. And now it's like, I was like, all right, it's time for another one of those. This was 10 years ago. Let's go. Let's bring it on. I shoot for this foundation, the Vilcek Foundation, and they're just amazing. And I got to do some they're my oldest client. I think I've been shooting for them since 2001, 2002, maybe. Probably 2002, I think. Maybe 2001. Might have been probably 2002. Anyway, it's been that long. And they're great. And they gave me the coolest jobs I've ever shot. So, now if you flip that, no names, but if you flip best to worst, is there an individual that comes to mind where you just think that person was a nightmare? The person that the success has amplified. Oh, yeah. I got him. Yeah. Someone comes to mind. Oh, yeah. Now, when you interacted with that person, what was the experience like? Well, it was like partially. How do you handle it? I had to backpedal a lot. It was partially my fault. It was partially the scenario. And I don't think that they had all the knowledge they should have had. So basically what happened was, and I won't name who it was, and they tried to be nice with me and connect with me and it fell apart. But, and I want what I want. And I was getting paid a ton of money and I had to get this shot. What happened was a company was doing a commercial and they had to do a print advertising to go along with the website and all the print stuff along with the commercial. Mm-hmm. So they didn't want to pay the celebrity for 2 days of work. They wanted to pay the celebrity for 1 day of work. So they asked me, and anybody listening, never say yes to this. This is not something you should say yes to. Although with the price tag, I had to.
Well, the money makes it.
Yeah, I had to. I had no choice. And it was a friend of mine that got me the job. So I was like, and he was the director of the commercial and I was the still photographer. So we were working together and I trusted him and I pulled it off. It worked out fine. But they basically asked me to shoot stills for the campaign for the product in between takes of the video, which the talent usually don't like. Like they're like, I'm doing this commercial. Like I don't need you with a camera in my face after I finish my lines. Cut that out. Meanwhile, I had to relight them and do all this stuff to make it all work. And I don't think that there was all these stipulations, and I don't think they got the memo that I was getting. It was the picture. I think they just thought it was behind the scenes pictures. So they're like, "What are you doing?"
They didn't know that it was important for the campaign.
Get out of here.
Right.
They didn't know that. But for me, I was like, and I couldn't really say anything. It's difficult. It's like when you have somebody of power or a person that's on a set that's, the person, you kind of have to walk a fine line of what you can say and what you can do. And I ended up just going, okay, I got to get this job done best I can with what I've got. But I learned from it. I learned a lot from it. So
we've talked a lot about success, what that looks like, and goals. And for you to have success for you is to have a goal and then achieve that goal. You have any open-ended big ones right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But that would, if I lay them on you, then that would be throwing accountability out. No.
Well, yes, that's part of the connecting piece I'm trying to make it. Do you have one?
I have them all. I gotta. All right, I'll give you one. I'll throw it out here. My big goal, which has been a goal for a while, and I've been second in the world championship twice. I want to be a laser master world champion. That's a goal of mine. So I'm physically getting ripped up and in shape. I got to get boat shape. So I added a bunch of months. Anyway, this is why all the working out. Why I do it. I do it because I want to get in this boat and kick butt. So I trained for the Olympics. What?
Laser master?
Laser master. So what happened was I trained for the Olympics when I was 23. I started training for the Olympics for 96. I missed the U.S. team in 96. Fell into a modeling career. Came to New York for 96. 96, I was like traveling around Europe modeling. 97, 98, 99, I was in New York doing the model actor bartender thing. And in 99, I had a guy say to me, why aren't you training for the 2000 Olympics? Aren't you good enough? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm bartending till 4 a.m. I live in a fifth floor walk up. Why I do have this talent. Why don't I do it? I was like, I don't know why I'm not doing it. I should do it. And luckily, I convinced myself in one evening that I should go train for the Olympics. So I went back and everybody's like, you can't do it. It's like a year to the Olympic trials. Like you only have a year of training. There's no way you're going to make it. And I ended up making the U.S. team. And I was winning the Olympic trials at the beginning. But only one guy goes. 5 guys make the team. 1 guy makes the Olympic team. So the U.S. sailing team and the U.S. Olympic team are 2 different things. But once you win the Olympic trials, you go to the Olympics. But 5 guys make the U.S. team, and that was one of my goals. I wanted to be on the U.S. team. I didn't feel like I was not peaking. I hadn't peaked yet. I was doing really well, but I also held myself back. So it's that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome. Well, that guy's better than me. Why should I go to the Olympics? This guy's much better than me. That's the way I felt. This guy's going to represent the country better than me. And then the guy that went got his ass kicked. So I was like, I could have been that guy. I would have, at least I would have gone to the Olympics. I could have, I might have done worse. Who knows? But anyway, I made the U.S. team. I quit sailing. I gained weight. I picked up a camera. I got out of shape. I pinched a nerve in my neck. I sailed a little here and there. I just kind of dropped it. And once you train for the Olympics at that level to get back into the sport that you love and that you used to be one of the best in the world, I was ranked 17th in the world at my peak. You just don't do it because you don't want the local yokel guy beating you because you haven't trained. So you just don't even get in.
Mm-hmm.
So until you become 30, at 35, you can get into what's called an apprentice master. But the real guys, a lot of people don't get back till they're 45. So I was turning 45, and I told this story already. I was 230 pounds, had to weigh 185 to get back in the boat. I did, and I went and got second in the world that year. So the guy who beat me is Australian. He's won the world championship like at least 16 times, 16 years in a row or something ridiculous like that. I don't know. No, like he lost in the Netherlands last year, and he got second or third. I think he got second. He's been second a couple times. Anyway, nobody ever beats this guy. I was in Croatia a couple years ago, and it was me and him going into the last race, and it was who beat who, and I ended up going the wrong way, and he beat me. So I got second again, and it was frustrating. So I've been second twice. I've also been fifth and sixth. I mean, I was like falling apart. So I really wanted to win. So I went down to Australia to try and win right before COVID hit, and they canceled it. And I was down there, and I had to come back during all that. Anyway, so my goal is obviously going to be I need to win this Laser Master World Championship. I'm 50 now. I'm in the group is from 45 to 55. So I'm in it for a little bit, and these younger guys are starting to come in, these 45-year-olds. I was like, oh, yeah, see, you 45-year-olds.
That's right.
I got work to do. So who knows?
But you want to beat this guy.
I want it, but he's older than me, so he's only going to be in. He might have aged out by the time the next world championship. So if I win and he's not there, I'm still going to have to wait till I'm 55 to sail against him again.
To beat him, yeah.
To beat him. But I'll take a world championship, and I'm going to leverage the crap out of that because I think, well, I mean, second in the world, you really can't say anything. World champion, my thing is that, I try to push everybody to be more, do more, get more of what they want. I want the world championship so badly that that if I get it, I'm going to utilize it the best I can to make people aware of how to set your goals properly to get what you want and do it.
I love how you walk the walk, man. You walk it. You do it.
Yeah, and if I'm not putting it out there. Like everybody listening to this, we all have ups and downs. I mean, some days I'm just not walking the walk. It's just the way it goes. You get it. There is two sides of the bed that you wake up on. Sometimes you just get up on the wrong side. You don't know why. And you're just like, shit, this day is going to be a piece.
Sometimes I know why.
Yeah. But sometimes you don't. You just wake up and you're just like,
yep.
Just feel like a shitty day today. And then you don't get anything done, and then you wonder why. And I know that's there, and I understand that everybody goes through it. The thing that I try to keep my brain attached to is that you wouldn't know a bad day without a good one. You can't have a good day without a bad day. Like you have to have that happen for you.
Comparison, right?
How the hell would you know? You wouldn't know. So I think there's a law. I mean, I study these laws and stuff. There's a law of rhythm. So, tied in, tied out, stuff up and down, all that stuff. So I try to, handle the down times the best you can. Right. So, and it could be created by something like a pandemic, whatever, or it could be, just, life going on, things are happening. That's what we are on this planet revolving around a sun, and stuff's going on,
I appreciate you putting it out there though. Let me ask you this last thing. Cause I want to follow you doing this, right? Yeah. I want to see if you can win a world championship, but I don't know I know it's sailing. I get that piece.
Yeah.
But how do I follow you doing that?
I mean, I usually post on my Instagram. My Instagram's really like I want to try and figure out what I'm doing with it, because I'm like randomly posting, and sometimes I'll get more serious about it, but I mean, that's really the place where I that's the platform that works for photographers. It works for me right now. That's kind of like where it's all going. So I do, do most of my stuff there.
And what's your Instagram handle?
Peter_Hurley.
Okay. That's where we're gonna follow along and watch you win. You put it out there. I mean, it's out there. Now you got to do it.
I got to do it. And the thing is that I got sixth in the last one that happened, and I had hurt my wrist arm wrestling a photographer at ClickCon in Chicago, and I felt like I was hammered. We were out one night, and I was and Roberto Valenzuela was right behind me, and he was arm wrestling Tom Munoz. I don't know if you guys know these
I know
people.
all those guys. Oh
yeah.
My gosh!
So Tom's
why would Roberto arm wrestle Tom?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. And I just met Tom, really nice guy. But I just met him.
Tom's
and I
a
was
truck, and Roberto's not going to beat Tom in arm wrestling.
Oh, no way. No way. Not at all. And neither would I. I wouldn't have. That was just the dumbest thing. I mean, anyway, in high school, I have really long arms. So I'm like, all right, Tom's all jacked up. And I'm like, but I have really long arms. I'm going to go for it. And I just am not one to give up. I should have just given up the minute that he started.
You arm wrestled Tom Munoz too?
Yeah. Well, Roberto lost, and I went, come over. I said, Tom, let's go.
I got you, Tom. Yeah.
Tom just went boom and just took my arm right down, and I held on the whole time, and then my wrist snapped at the end. So it didn't.
You're lucky he didn't break it, man.
Well, yeah, it was like a severe sprain. Anyway, I sailed the world championship with that and got sixth. So I was all right. I was like, all right, now my wrist is back. I'm working out. Everything's fine. Tom's a great guy. He didn't mean to do it. He's awesome.
Well, no, of course he didn't mean to do it. But, between now and the world championships, stay away from arm wrestling. You got to do this. You got to make this happen. You got a lot of people going to be rooting for you now.
No, but I really, you know what it did for me? I realized I'm 50 now. I can't do things like that. I can't arm wrestle. I can't do dumb drunk stuff late at night.
Certainly not with Tom Munoz.
So yeah. Oh, you don't want to get in that guy. Have you seen that guy? I don't know what the heck.
He's a beast.
Guy works out. Talk about working out.
He's a big cat. His brother's a big cat too. I wouldn't arm wrestle either one of those guys.
No. And I'm never going to wrestle anybody ever again.
No.
Like it really messed up my wrist for an entire year.
Not if you want to win a world championship, man. You got to keep yourself tip-top shape. Hey, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
You're so gracious. I appreciate it.
I love it. I feel like I motor mouthed it again.
No, I don't mind. I like it when my guests talk and I don't have to do as much.
All right. That's cool. I'll take it. It's good. I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Till next time, my brother.
That's awesome. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Hey guys, thanks for watching this conversation presented by White House Custom Color on YouTube. Be sure to check out our other content and click that subscribe button right there. Right. Right there. It's there somewhere.